Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lisa. I'm an Australian living in Amsterdam. This is part 2 of my buying a home in the Netherlands as an expat video series. Today I'm going to talk about the buying stage. What happens if you find a home that you like and you want to submit a bid for it, and what happens after you submit a bid and it gets accepted. If you like a home, then step 1 is to submit a bid for the home. In our case, we submitted bids for 2 places. A bidding deadline usually happens when a property is high in demand and has a lot of interested potential buyers. In some cases, there might be some room for negotiation, but when there is a bidding deadline, there is no room for negotiation. You really only have one shot, one opportunity, M&M style, to submit your best and final bid, along with any other conditions that you have in addition to the price that you want to pay for the home. For instance, the price that we submitted in our bid was conditional on the inspection report coming back all normal and okay. It was subject to us raising finance, so in other words, our ability to get a mortgage approved. Also, we stated how long we were able to get our financing approved by. There are a few important things to say about the bidding process under these kind of competitive circumstances. The best bid is not necessarily about submitting the highest price. The conditions that are attached to your bid are just as important. For example, a very high bid that requires a very long financial approval process, or one that relies on a high borrowing amount, may not be as attractive to the seller as a slightly lower bid that promises upfront payment without bank guarantees. In our case, our makelaar informed us that the seller was actually choosing between 2 bids, and if we could speed up the finance approval from 6 weeks to 3 weeks, then we would have a significant advantage over the other people who bid for the same property. This is why it's so important to go with a mortgage broker that can respond quickly and start the process ASAP when you need it to. Another thing to note is that it's a silent bidding process. You're not able to see what other people's bids are. You therefore really do need to just give it your best shot if you like a property, but also you need to be careful and not pay significantly more than what the property is worth. Hopefully, you might be in a situation where your bid gets accepted. After your bid gets accepted, it becomes kind of a frantic rush to get all your documents in order. And this part is probably the most stressful part, I would say, because there's a lot of things happening concurrently at the same time. You need to notify your mortgage broker immediately to get your financing started as soon as possible. The second thing that we needed to do was to arrange a structural inspection. This is one of the conditions that we put in the bid, where we said we would only go ahead with the purchase if the structural report of the property came back all normal and okay. You need to arrange a valuation report or an appraisal report to be done. This will determine how much money you're able to borrow from the mortgage lender. You need to arrange the signing of the preliminary purchase agreement at the notary's office. In our case, this was scheduled about a week and a half after we were notified that the bid was accepted. When you've got all your documents in order, you need to send the structural inspection report, the signed preliminary purchase agreement, and the appraisal report to your mortgage broker. As I mentioned in my first video, we actually weren't able to attend the purchase agreement appointment because we had booked a holiday at the exact same time. Luckily, we were able to ask our makelaar to act as our power of attorney, and she was able to sign the purchase agreement on our behalf while we were away. So unfortunately, I can't tell you what the experience of signing that agreement actually was. Basically, my point is that if you hire a makelaar, all of the things that I mentioned can still happen even while you're not even in the country. Another important thing to note, and I'm going to read this so I don't miss out anything, is that there is a 3 working day cooling off period even after you sign the preliminary purchase agreement. Only you as the buyer have 3 working days to back out from the contract, but the seller can't do that. Once the cooling off period ends, then you are in a legally binding contract and you can't back out without penalty. Step 3, get your mortgage approved. So this step is a bit different to some other countries. It's definitely different from Australia. In the Netherlands, you cannot get pre-approval from a mortgage lender before you have an accepted offer. That's why the mortgage approval process can only start after the preliminary purchase agreement has been signed, and it's also after you have received your appraisal report. You wait for your mortgage broker to tell you whether any lenders will approve your documents and your requested mortgage amount. Once you have submitted all the documents I mentioned in step 2, you wait for the mortgage broker to tell you whether any lenders will approve your documents and your requested mortgage amount. For us, it was about a 3 working day wait between when we submitted the final outstanding document, which in our case was the appraisal report, and also getting our first binding offer from a mortgage lender. During this time, our makala also sent us a thing called a list of movables. This is a list of all the things that will either stay in the property or be taken away from the property with the seller. What was very different in the Netherlands were the type of things listed in the list of movables. So for instance, here it is very normal for sellers to say, I want to take away the floorboards, I'm going to take away all the blinds, I'm going to take away the light fixtures, I'm even maybe going to take away the kitchen. Those are kind of things, say in Australia, they stay in the property and they're part of the purchase price. But in the Netherlands, some of those things are not included in the purchase price, and the seller has the right to take that away with them if they so please. Hopefully everything has gone smoothly so far for you. You've managed to get all your documents in on time. You've managed to get a binding offer from a mortgage lender, so someone is willing to lend you money to buy a home. That leads you to step 4, which is the final inspection of the property and the signing of the transfer deed and the mortgage deed. The inspection of the home happens before the signing takes place. This is like your final chance to see the property one last time before you sign the transfer documents. In our case, it was the first time we saw the property without any furniture, because usually when you inspect a property, it does still have the previous owner's furniture and decorations, so you may not have been able to see everything very clearly. What I would recommend when you're doing a final inspection is to not feel shy. Turn on all the taps, turn on all the lights, turn on the heater, turn the stove on. Basically make sure that everything is working well and as it should be, and that everything is structurally okay with the home, because if something is not working, then the previous owner actually has a responsibility to fix that for you and make sure it's delivered to you in good condition. In our case, a part of the stovetop was actually broken, so it was really good that we looked at it during the final inspection, and the previous owner had to pay the repair costs for that. Also, another important thing that needs to happen during the final inspection is the selling agent needs to take a photo of the gas meter and the electricity meter, so you're not charged incorrectly for services that you didn't actually use. After everything is over, you will all meet each other at the notary office. Usually it is the seller who has to arrange the notary, although I have heard of cases where the buyer needs to arrange a notary. And there, the main thing that you need to do is to sign 2 documents. You need to sign the mortgage deed. The mortgage deed is the official declaration by the mortgage lender, usually a bank, stating that they have granted a mortgage to buy your home. And the second document you need to sign is a deed of transfer. And this is basically the deed that sets out the terms of the sale of a home. If you are not a Dutch speaker, the notary office will also arrange a translator. Because it is a legal meeting, the notary is legally obligated to speak only in Dutch and go through the contract in Dutch. Therefore, if you do not speak Dutch, it's really important that you get a translator. The translator costs about 100 or 150 euros extra. And then once those deeds are signed, you get your keys and the home is yours. It's a kind of weird feeling because it all kind of happens so quickly. I hope this video helps to kind of make that process a little bit clearer for you. If you made it to the end of this video, please give it a thumbs up down below so I know that the video was useful to you. And if you have a question, feel free to drop it in the comment section down below. Keep watching the part 3 video, which is the final part of this video series on how to buy a home as an expat in the the Netherlands. In this video, I discuss whether or not I think you should buy a home in the Netherlands based on your personal circumstances, because I don't think buying a home is necessarily the right decision for everyone. It really depends on your personal circumstances. Keep watching and hopefully I see you in the next one. Bye! So about an hour ago, I guess, or half an hour ago, we signed the documents at the notary office, which means we have officially become new owners of our new home. We've got a lot of painting gear. We're waiting for the tram right now. We're gonna put some elbow grease into the apartment. We are painting the final room in our new apartment, the living room. So as you can see, there's a green wall behind me. It was left behind by the previous owner and doesn't really fit our aesthetic, so that's why we're painting over it. Looking forward to just having matching wall colors soon.